Yeah, I've been listening to the debate, and I think that whilst I can't defend the Tories in their entirety, there's a lot of mistakes, and I agree the country is very, very broken. I do think that Sunak is the safer pair of hands when it comes to the economy.
Safer than who?
Safer than Labour. And the reason I'm saying that is that the Labour government, last time they were in power, when Cameron took over, left a note on the desk to say there was no more money in the coffers. They bankrupted the country.
No. You've forgotten the 2008 global financial crisis.
No, I haven't.
No, you have.
No, I haven't.
No,
there were pension rates.
Clearly have.
Trust me. Please don't put words in my mouth, because
I didn't. I was telling you the words you hadn't said.
I went through and experienced very heavily the financial crisis in 2008. But nonetheless, Labour were irresponsible in the spending, having raided pensions and everything else. And that balance has got to be heard on this conversation, whether you like it or not. Well, you can say all you like, and when you say that Brexit was a ridiculous situation, well, there's 51% of the country voted for it. We're not all ridiculous. We're quite intelligent, quite informed.
What's the best bit of it?
What's the best bit of it?
Yeah, what's the biggest benefit?
I don't think that the full benefit has been executed by the Tories.
No, but the bits that have been executed, what's your favourite?
Because we've got independence.
No, I mean as in something that we can see and something we can see and measure. So which law? Which is your favourite?
Various laws.
Just name one.
No, I'm not going to fall into that. I'm just saying.
Well, you can't come on the radio and say there's loads of great laws, and then I say, could you tell me one of them? You have to tell me one of them, Anne.
No, I don't.
Well, obviously you don't. It's not the law.
No, the law.
Well, except possibly it is the law. So what do you like most? What do you like?
However,
what
hasn't happened by the Tories?
With respect, that's just ignorance.
No, it's not ignorance.
Well, give me an example then. Give me an example then.
What I'm going on to say is, what the Tories have failed to do
Can I have one example?
Brexit. No, I don't need to give you an example.
You do, otherwise everyone's going to think you're very silly.
The conversation.
No, you have to give me one example.
The conversation is really, really biased in
It's not biased. It's biased in favour of evidence and examples.
And they're all as bad as each other.
So what's your example?
What's
your example?
I've given you the example.
You haven't. You just used words like control with no proof. So what's your proof that we have more control? Go on then.
I've got proof. Don't look it up. Don't Google it.
No, you can't say I've got proof. You can't say I've got proof.
At the end of the day,
go and Google it.
You have got.
So give me some proof.
A load of parties here that are all as bad as each other.
Yes, except they're not all as bad as each other, because people on the other side of this argument, if we can use that word very, very loosely, they will point at things that have happened. For example, having to choose the 12 people that could attend the funeral of your 16-year-old son. That is not something that makes Labour the same as the Conservatives. But we're talking about Brexit. We're talking... let me speak, please. And then you go back to that note as well in the... in the Treasury, which actually nudged back to something that Reggie Maudling did when he was the Conservative Chancellor and left a very similar message. There's no money left, old Pip, or something like that for his Labour
that's a long time ago. But
well, you're talking about 14 years ago, so your point is ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's a big event that has led to, along with COVID, and
why do you think that every economy in the world, arguably, certainly in the free world, followed the advice of Alistair Darling and and Gordon Brown when it came to dealing with the global financial crisis and the policy of quantitative easing? When Gordon Brown went to France, even though he hadn't actually been invited, and persuaded, I think, Sarkozy to let him speak to all the EU leaders or the European Eurozone leaders, and Alistair Darling flew to Washington to speak to America, why do you think they all took the advice of the two Labour politicians? Anne?
Sorry, say that again.
Why do you think every government in the world, practically, followed the advice of Gordon Brown and Alistair Darling when it came to emerging from the global financial crisis of 2008?
You tell me.
Because they were brilliant.
Really?
Well, no, that's my answer. It's your turn. It's your turn now.
Well, my turn is to say they weren't that brilliant because all they were doing was storing up a load of problems that got taken over in 2010.
No, but those are just words. They don't actually mean anything. They were solving.
They're not words.
No, well, they are words, and we can at least agree that they're words that you said.
But it's 2010. There's no money in the budget.
No, the 2010 as a consequence of the global financial crisis of 2008, and the direction of traffic at the time was positive. Alistair Darling was improving a situation that the Tories then came in and tried to address with austerity. And the fact that you have to cling to something as ridiculous as a 40...
Not clinging to it.
Well, hang on, you don't know what I've said yet. How can you say it's not ridiculous?
Go on then, finish it.
You have to cling to something as ridiculous as a 14-year-old private joke between at least one person of whom didn't think it would ever be made public is evidence that you haven't really got anything substantive to say. Well, except, no, that's not fair. Except, of course, I've got loads of examples, but I can't tell you what they are. You're going to have to go and Google it yourself.
No, I think there's some manipulation of what I've said, and I think 14 years...
Feel free to remind me what the benefits are.
It shouldn't be a joke to anybody.
What are the benefits of Brexit?
Money.
What are the benefits?
It's public money, and it should be important to everybody listening and everybody not listening. It's public money, and there was none left. So spending money that wasn't there. You can't run a business that way.
Is the debt bigger or smaller today than it was then?
Bigger.
So whose fault is that then?
COVID.
Oh, I see. Right. So the global financial crisis had nothing to do with the state of the economy when Labour lost in 2010, but the failure of... So what was the figure before COVID? What was the debt before COVID, Anne?
You tell me.
No, you tell me, because you're the one that's insisting that Rishi Sunak is a safer pair of hands than the Labour Party. So you tell me.
The speak for themselves. Inflation has come down, hasn't it?
Yes, and it also went up. So your point is what?
It did go up, and the reason it went up was in part linked to COVID and in part linked to the legacy issues, of which, yes, the Tories are part of it.
Give me your favourite legacy issue. What's your favourite legacy issue, Anne?
My favourite legacy issue is what I've just said, which is that they were bankrupt. But I don't think we're going to get anywhere, so we'll agree to disagree.
No, we won't. I never agree to disagree with people who haven't got any evidence to support their position. So what I suspect you're going to do now is just hang up. I'm like Nostradamus.